Welcome to Mastering English Idioms, essential for ESL communication. My name is Ellen Jamilothoris. I am an ESL teacher, and today we are going to take a look at everything that has to do with the idioms. So let's get right to it. Introduction to idioms. So, what is an idiom? An idiom is a phrase or expression that has a figurative rather than literal meaning. Idioms are used in common language and culture and often have a unique meaning that can't be understood simply by looking up the words in a dictionary. They mean something else, not what you are exactly saying. So, where do idioms come from? Well, idioms are often derived from popular culture and literature. For example, when we say barking up the wrong tree, he's barking up the wrong tree, that is believed to have originated from a folk tale in which a raccoon hunts for a possum up the wrong tree. So this phrase is now used to refer to when someone is looking for something in the wrong place. So we use idioms in everyday speech. We use idioms to help add color to our speech. It makes it more interesting, more enjoyable. It gives it a kind of flair. And it can also help to convey messages more clearly and effectively. So, idioms can be used to convey the tone of your message. Are you being serious, playful, or sarcastic? For example, the phrase break a leg can be used to wish someone good luck, while the phrase it's raining cats and dogs can be used to express surprise or excitement. So it brings a tone, it gives a feeling to your speech. Idioms have been used in literature, both in fiction and in nonfiction. It creates vivid images and it makes the text more interesting, more engaging. It gives it more life. So, as we said before, it was raining cats and dogs. This really helps the reader to understand that heavy rainstorm. So, people misuse idioms too. You have to be aware of this potential. Because idioms are often used, figuratively rather than literally, you want to make sure that you're using them correctly so there is no misunderstanding and no confusion. And of course, you always have to be aware of the cultural differences when using these idioms. You want to be aware of that because you never know if you're saying it in a talking to somebody in a different culture, how that could be misunderstood. So we use idioms in social media to help convey your point, to express your emotions, and it could be more relatable to your audience. Using idioms to help make conversations more interesting, lively, and engaging at work. Again, they help many times to convey your message more clearly. Now, in this lesson, we will be discussing some of the common misconceptions about idioms. We will cover why they are important, how they are used, and how they can be used to express something that cannot be said in literal terms. The first misconception is that idioms are nonsensical. They don't make sense or are irrelevant to everyday conversation. But in reality, idioms are a vital part of English language and culture. That's why you must learn them. They provide a way to express complex ideas in a concise and humorous way, many times. They can also help to add color and personality to a conversation. So, another misconception is that idioms don't change. Idioms change over time. They are constantly evolving. They can become outdated or new ones can be created. It is important to stay up to date on the current idioms to ensure that that they are used correctly in everyday conversations and situations. Another misconception is that idioms are universal across all cultures, but in reality, that is not true. Each language and culture has their own set of idioms. What may be an idiom in one language may not be in another. So that's why it's important to be aware and to be aware of the cultural nuances when using idioms so that they're being used appropriately. Another misconception is that they can be used freely. In reality, some idioms may be inappropriate or even offensive in certain contexts or cultures. So, again, be aware of the cultural nuances so that you're always being respectful. Another misconception, idioms are unnecessary. Idioms are necessary. Idioms can be used to express something that cannot be said in literal terms. Using them in conversations can make for a more interesting and lively conversation. It might make your conversation more humorous. And the last misconception that I want to go over with you today is that idioms are not used in formal contexts. But in reality, they are used in formal contexts, in academic papers and professional presentations. It really helps sometimes to convey your message. So let's talk about personal qualities. Personal qualities, idioms about personal qualities. So here we have the idiom, a jack of all trades. This idiom is used to describe someone who's skilled in many different things. It is often used to refer to someone who is able to do a variety of tasks and is knowledgeable in a lot of areas. It suggests that a person is well rounded and can accomplish a wide range of tasks. I'm sure that everyone knows a jack of all trades. My dad was a jack of all trades. He could fix anything that I wanted to get fixed. So here's an example sentence. He's a jack of all trades and can fix just about anything. Let's go to the next one. An open book. She's an open book and always shares her thoughts and feelings with others. So this idiom is used to describe someone who's very transparent, very easy to read in quotations. It is often referred to someone who's very honest about their feelings and is not afraid to share them. It suggests that the person is open and has nothing to hide. And this is a great quality to have as a person, unless you're a spy. So let's go to the next one. A breath of fresh air. So meeting her was like a breath of fresh air. She was positive, energetic, and full of life. So this idiom is used to describe someone who's new and exciting. It is often used to refer to someone who brings a new perspective and energy to a situation. It suggests that the person is different and has something unique to offer. It's always nice to meet somebody new and to think that they're a breath of fresh air. They have something unique to offer, a friendship or a workplace, for example. The next one is as cool as a cucumber. So even in the most stressful situations, He remains as cool as a cucumber and doesn't let his emotions get the best of him. So, this is an idiom that means that you can remain calm, composed in very stressful situations. It's used to describe that somebody can stay cool and collected, even when things are just chaotic all over the place. And it's a wonderful thing to have somebody as cool as a cucumber in a stressful situation. A hothead. Okay, a hothead. A hothead is someone who is very quick to anger. This person gets frustrated and upset very easily, and they have difficulty controlling their emotions. This person is usually prone to outbursts, which prone means it's easy to, okay? They're prone to outbursts and they need to work on controlling their temper. So he's always been a hothead and has a quick temper. Okay, we don't want those kind of people around. It can be hard to control them. All right, let's get to a broken record. This describes someone who talks too much but is repeating themselves. They're repeating themselves over and over again. Okay, they're not saying anything new, they're not saying anything interesting. They're kind of stuck in a pattern. So my boss keeps repeating the same thing over and over again. It's like listening to a broken record. Smooth as silk. Her presentation was smooth as silk, and she captivated the audience from start to finish. So, if you are as smooth as silk, that means you're very polished, you're very sophisticated. You have the ability to handle difficult situations with ease and grace and finesse. A hopeless romantic. Isn't that sweet? She's a hopeless romantic and believes in true love and happy endings. So, this is a person that is very idealistic, very sentimental about love. This is a person that might be a dreamer that believes that love can conquer all. Okay. This is a person that believes in the power of true love. So, this kind of person might like romantic dinners, romantic music, dancing, that kind of thing. That is a hopeless romantic. The devil's advocate. Playing devil's advocate, he presented an alternative perspective to the team's plan. This idiom is used to describe someone who's looking for the opposite point of view. So it is often used to refer to someone who likes to challenge ideas and look at them from all angles. This person isn't afraid to ask difficult questions and maybe to push boundaries. They play the devil's advocate. A chip on your shoulder. Do you have a chip on your shoulder? She always seems to have a chip on her shoulder and gets defensive easily. So, a person with a chip on their shoulder is always looking for a fight. They are ready for anything to, prove themselves. They're always defensive. This suggests that a person needs to work on their anger management a bit. Okay, so that is a person with a chip on their shoulder. And here we have another personal quality. Are you a party animal? He's a real party animal and loves to dance and have a good time. So, as you can imagine, a party animal is someone who loves to party, loves to have a good time, loves to go out with friends, Maybe they like to drink a little bit, dance. They're just very, very outgoing and they love to socialize. And those were all of the, or some of the personal qualities. Here we have our idioms that refer to the anatomy. The first one, to see eye to eye. This idiom is used to describe two people who have the same opinion or view on an issue. It is so much easier to work together when we see eye to eye on the project's goals. So it's a wonderful thing when you see eye to eye in all contexts. Arm and a leg. That is when something is very expensive. It's used in a negative context. I'd love to buy a new car, but I don't want to spend an arm and a leg on it. Head over heels. This is used to describe someone who is in love or has a strong attraction to something. It's always used in a positive context. When I met my partner, I fell head over heels in love with them. That's always nice. A leg up. This idiom is used to describe when someone receives help or an advantage in achieving something. It's used in a positive context. So, for example, getting a degree gave her a leg up in her career. To turn a blind eye. This is used usually in a negative context. It's used to describe when someone willfully ignores something. The teacher decided to turn a blind eye to the students cheating on the test. So she knew, or he, that the students were cheating, but they decide to ignore it anyway. To hit below the belt. This is used to describe when someone attacks someone else using unfair or mean tactics. This is something that is in a negative context. For example, insulting someone's family is hitting below the belt and not a fair game in an argument ever. It's hitting below the belt. It's unfair. Lead with the chin. When somebody leads with the chin, that means that they're doing something brave or foolish. It depends. So she knew that going against the boss's orders was leading with her chin, but she felt it was the right thing to do. So, was she brave? Was she foolish? Time will tell. There's another idiom, time will tell. The long arm of the law. So, this idiom is used to describe when authorities find out something and they take action. And it is used in a negative context. For example, when the police arrived, they enforced the long arm of the law and arrested the suspects. To put your best foot forward. This idiom is used to describe when someone makes an effort to appear their best. This is always used in a positive context. To impress her new boss, she put her best foot forward and finished all of her tasks before the deadline. A handful. If something is a handful, that means it's difficult to handle, difficult to manage. For example, raising triplets can be a handful, but it's worth it. Not only triplets, but twins and one child as well. And the cold shoulder. So, this is in a negative context. When you are giving someone the cold shoulder, that means you are deliberately ignoring them or excluding them, having them not be a part of the group, um, or a part of your life. So, when he tried to talk to her at the party, she gave him the cold shoulder and walked away. And those were some idioms that have to do with the anatomy. Have you ever been red in the face? Red in the face is used to describe someone who's embarrassed or flustered. It's typically used to describe someone who has said something they regret or has made a mistake in public. So, after realizing she had worn her shirt inside out all day, she felt so embarrassed that she turned red in the face. Red in the face. Let's take a look at another color idiom, white as a ghost. That's used to describe someone who's extremely pale, typically due to fear. It is most often used to describe someone who has had a frightful experience or saw something shocking. When she heard the shocking news, she turned white as a ghost. Green with envy. This is an idiom that describes someone who's jealous of another person. It's typically used to describe a situation in which someone wants something that someone else has, maybe money, material possessions, or a relationship. So, seeing her ex with someone else made her green with envy. That's not a good thing. To paint the town red. The idiom paint the town red is used to describe a situation in which a group of people have a wild and fun and raucous time. It is usually used in a positive way. You're celebrating a night out, maybe with the girls or with the guys. Maybe you're celebrating something like, a birthday. It's my friend's birthday, and we plan to paint the town red tonight. Let's go to the other color idiom, a white lie. These are small lies. They are usually told to be polite or kind. So it's usually a very small kind of lie, maybe to protect someone's feelings or even to avoid some kind of argument. They are usually harmless. They don't cause any serious harm. So I didn't want to hurt her feelings, so I told a white lie about why I couldn't attend the party. Okay, we all tell white lies to protect our friends. White knight. Here's another one with white. So the idiom white knight is used to describe a person who saves the day, saves someone from a difficult situation. It's typically used to describe a situation in which someone rescues another person from danger or some kind of difficulty. Okay. It can also be used to describe a situation in which a person provides a solution to a problem. So he was always the first to help others and was known as the white knight of the neighborhood. And of course, a white knight refers to a male, okay, a man. And let's take a look at a gray area. If something is described as a gray area, it means that it's not clearly defined. It is typically used to describe a situation where there are no clear rules or guidelines. So, decisions must be made based on an opinion or your feeling, your intuition. There are some gray areas in the new policy that need to be addressed. So it can be used to describe a situation in which we don't know. We don't really know what's right or wrong. So you base it on opinion and your gut feeling. Let's talk about blue collar worker. A blue collar worker is used to describe a person who works usually manually or in an industrial job. This person works with their hands, like a construction worker, a factory worker, or any kind of manual laborer. They are usually paid an hourly wage instead of a salary. So a blue collar worker um, is also there. The opposite of that is the white collar worker. Okay, so we have blue collar workers and white collar workers. So a white collar worker is a person that would work in an office setting, let's say. Um, Examples of that would be an accountant, a doctor, a lawyer, a secretary, a teacher. Those are white collar workers. So the example is my father was a blue collar worker who worked long hours in a factory. And we have the black sheep. The color idiom black sheep is used to describe a person who is considered an outsider, an outcast. This person usually doesn't fit in with the rest of the group or the family. It can also be used to describe someone who's considered a little bit unconventional or rebellious. So, for example, she was the black sheep of the family and always did things differently. And we have one more with the color green, and that is the green eyed monster. And this is also a person that is envious. Okay, so it's used to describe a feeling of envy or resentment, even towards someone. So it's describing a situation in which someone is jealous of somebody else's things, their relationship, their job, their success, all of that. So the green eyed monster of jealousy made her say mean things to her friend who got the promotion instead of her. Now, in this sentence, you don't need to write of jealousy. You don't need to say it because it's understood from the idiom. The green eyed monster made her say mean things to her friend. Okay, and those were some color idioms. I hope you enjoyed that. So let's talk about idioms with travel. So here we have take a back seat. And when we take a back seat, that means we've relinquished control and let somebody else take the lead. It can be used when someone wants to show respect for someone else's opinion or expertise. So I'm happy to take a back seat and let you lead the project. To hit the road. That means let's leave quickly. It can be used when someone wants to say that they are leaving or they want someone else to leave quickly. So, for example, it's getting late, so it's time to hit the road and head home. All aboard. This idiom is used to signal it's time to board a vehicle, such as a train or plane. It can also be used when someone needs to get everyone ready to leave on a trip. All aboard the train, we're leaving in 5 minutes. You could even say it with your car. Come on, everybody, all aboard. Let's get going. Let's hit the road. On the road again. This idiom is used to express excitement about traveling. It can be used when someone is about to start or embark on a journey, or when they're about to start a new adventure. So after spending a week relaxing at home, I'm excited to hit the road again and explore new places. To take a wrong turn. To take a wrong turn means to make a mistake or have some kind of unexpected setback. It can be used when someone needs to describe a situation where they or someone else has gone down the wrong path. We ended up taking a wrong turn and got lost in the city. Long road ahead. When we have a long road ahead of us, that means that there is a difficult task or even a difficult journey in front of us. It can be used when someone needs to express that a task or a project will take effort and dedication. So we knew that starting a new business would be tough, but we were prepared for the long road ahead. Uh-oh, highway to hell. This idiom means that you are heading in the wrong direction. It can be used when someone needs to express that they are making a bad decision or going down or the wrong path. So choosing to ignore the consequences of your actions is a highway to hell. And let's go to off the beaten path. I prefer to travel off the beaten path and explore new places. So, this means that you are going to go somewhere where it's not commonly visited. It can be used when someone needs to express that they are exploring somewhere new and unusual. And to go the distance. This is very similar with to go the extra mile. It means to finish something, even though it is difficult. It can be used when someone needs to express that they are going to persevere and complete a difficult task or journey. So, for example, I'm determined to go the distance and finish the race. Keep on trucking means to keep going and to stay motivated. It is used when someone needs to express that they're not giving up and are continuing to stay focused on their task or on their journey. So, despite the challenges, he kept on trucking and didn't give up. Smooth sailing means that something is going very well. It can be used when someone needs to express that a task or journey is going well and there are no major issues or obstacles in the way. So the project was successful and it was smooth sailing from start to finish. To take the scenic route means that you're taking a longer route, but it's in order to enjoy the journey. It can be used when someone needs to express that they want to take the time to enjoy the journey instead of getting to the destination as quickly as possible. So instead of taking the highway, let's take the scenic route and enjoy the views. It's longer, but it's prettier. A rough road ahead means that some kind of task or journey is going to be difficult. It can be used when someone needs to express that they are going to be obstacles that they have to somehow get through. So I'm not going to lie, there's a rough road ahead, but we'll get through it together. And those were the travel idioms. I hope you're enjoying the course so far and finding it helpful. Your satisfaction and success in my course is my top priority. And I would really appreciate it if you could take just a few minutes to provide a rating and a review of the course. Your feedback will not only help me to improve the course, but it will also help other students who are considering taking the course. Leave your honest rating and review, and I will greatly appreciate it. It will help me to make the course even better. Thanks in advance for your time and your support. And it's time to talk about sports idioms, that is, a level playing field. So, the idiom level playing field means a fair situation with no advantages or disadvantages. This idiom comes from the game of soccer, where the field must be level so that it is fair. So, an example sentence: in order to create a level playing field, the new policy will ensure equal opportunities for all employees. Okay, so we all want to start from a level playing field. Let's go to the next one: to chip away at. The idiom chip away at means to make progress gradually over time. And this is a sports idiom because it comes from the game of golf, where the player gradually chips away at the ball to get it closer to the hole. So he's been chipping away at the project for weeks and is finally making progress. Keep your eye on the ball. This is a very common one. The idiom keep your eye on the ball means to pay attention to the important details. This comes from the game of baseball, where the batter must keep their eyes on the ball in order to hit it successfully. So, an example sentence: to succeed in business, you need to keep an eye on the ball and stay focused on your goals. So, it basically means pay, I should say, attention to the important details. This is never good, throwing in the towel. So, throwing in the towel means to give up. And this comes from boxing, where a fighter's corner man may throw a towel into the ring to signal they are giving up. Maybe you've seen um, a boxing game, we would say, um, a boxing match. And if things are getting really bad, the corner man can throw in the towel and stop the game or the match. So after losing his third game in a row, he decided to throw in the towel and give up. Let's look at run the extra mile. So we put in extra effort when we say this idiom. So this idiom comes from a marathon where runners must go the extra mile to complete the race. So going the extra mile is always a wonderful thing at work, at school, in your relationships, everything. She was determined to pass the exam, so she ran the extra mile and studied every night. To hit a home run. This also comes from the game of basketball, where the batter must hit the ball out of the park in order to score a home run. A home run is the best thing that you can do in baseball. So it means to do something exceptionally well. With his incredible skills, he hit a home run and won the game for his team. But again, this is an idiom that just means you're doing something exceptionally well. It's not just for sports. So back to the drawing board. Back to the drawing board comes from the game of golf, where the player would have to go back to the drawing board, the scorecard in their case, if their shot went wrong. And it just means to start over or to make a new plan. So the project didn't turn out as planned, so it's back to the drawing board to come up with a new plan. We've all been there. Stick to your guns means to stay determined and to not give up or to not throw in the towel. This idiom comes from the game of archery, or activity, I should say, where archers must stay focused and keep their arrow on the target. So even though everyone else disagreed, she stuck to her guns and defended her position. She didn't give up. She stayed determined. To ride the wave. This comes from surfing, where surfers must ride the wave in order to stay up on their boards. So when we ride the wave, it means to take advantage of an opportunity. So, for example, after facing some setbacks, she decided to ride the wave of success and enjoy the moment. And those were some sports idioms. So let's go to idioms related to animals. A tiger in the tank. This idiom is used to describe someone who has a lot of energy, enthusiasm, or drive. This implies that the person has strength and determination of a tiger and is capable of accomplishing anything they set their mind to. So, for example, after drinking her morning coffee, Sally felt like she had a tiger in the tank and was ready to tackle the day. What a great feeling! The next one, a bull in a china shop. This implies that the person is clumsy and careless. It implies that the person is like a large bull in a small little china shop and is likely to cause chaos and destruction wherever they go. So, for example, James was so clumsy that we were afraid to let him touch anything expensive. He was like a bull in a china shop. Little kids, too, are like bulls in a china shop. An elephant in the room. This is a very common one. This idiom is used to describe a topic or an issue that is so obvious that everyone is aware about of it, but nobody wants to talk about it. It implies that the issue is so big that it's like an elephant in the room and it can't be ignored, even though everybody's trying. Everyone knew that Jim had been fired, but no one wanted to talk about the elephant in the room. A fish out of water is someone who is unfamiliar or feels uncomfortable in the situation that they are in. It implies that the person is like a fish out of water, unable to cope with their environment. So, for example, as an introverted person, attending a loud party made me feel like a fish out of water. And here's another one with a fish, the fish that got away. This idiom is used to describe something that was almost achieved but was ultimately not reached. It implies that the person was close to achieving their goal, but it was like a fish that just slipped through their fingers. Tom still regretted not asking out his high school crush, the one that got away, or the fish that got away. Let's go to the cat, letting the cat out of the bag. This one describes someone who reveals a secret or tells a lie. It implies that the person is like a cat that has been let out of the bag and now the secret is out in the open. I accidentally let the cat out of the bag and revealed to my sister that we were planning a surprise party for her. A snake in the grass. This is in a negative context, of course. Someone who is sly and untrustworthy is a snake in the grass. It implies that the person is like a snake in the grass and is likely to cause trouble or harm to those around them. So, for example, James seemed friendly, but when he spread rumors about me, I realized he was a snake in the grass. The dog days of summer. This idiom is used to describe a period of time that is hot, it's uncomfortable. It implies that the summer days are like a dog, in that they are long and hot and tiring. So during the dog days of summer, when the weather was hot and humid, I preferred to stay indoors and watch TV. An ant on a log. This idiom is used to describe someone who's motionless and inactive. It implies like an ant on a log. That's what the person is like an ant on a log, and isn't doing anything, isn't productive, isn't worthwhile. So, for example, Sarah sat on the log, feeling as small as an ant on a log while watching the sunset over the mountains. So she was just sitting there. A lion's share is used to describe getting the majority of something or the biggest piece of something. It implies that the person is getting a lion's share of the reward or benefit and is taking the largest portion, like a lion would, of whatever is being shared. Tom received the lion's share of the profits after the successful sale of the company. And our last animal idiom, a monkey on your back. This is used to describe a problem or some kind of burden that is really difficult to deal with. It implies that we have a problem like a monkey being on your back. It's weighing you down and preventing you from moving forward. Many times we use this when people are struggling with addictions. So, after a struggling with addiction for years, Sarah finally overcame the monkey on her back and got sober. I hope you are enjoying the course so far. I wanted to ask you if you could leave a rating and a review for me. This feedback really does mean a lot to me. It will help me to create better content for the future. Thanks so much for taking the course and continue enjoying it. So, here are the idioms all related to finance, something that interests all of us. To break the bank. This is used to refer to an individual or company spending too much money. It can also be used to describe an investment that yields large returns. So, for example, he is trying to break the bank with his new business venture. Let's go to cash cow. This idiom is used to refer to something that creates a huge profit, okay, without a lot of effort or cost. So, an example would be his business is a real cash cow. It's making a lot of money without any effort. Sounds nice, doesn't it? To put all your eggs in one basket. This idiom is used to caution people from investing or spending too much money in one place. It is usually used to encourage to diversify. For example, to have a little here, a little there, and a little somewhere else. To not have all your eggs in one basket. So, an example of this idiom would be don't put all your eggs in one basket. Diversify your investments for maximum return. And let's go to making the rounds. This idiom is used to refer to investors or businesses seeking out new investments. An example of this idiom would be he's been making the rounds looking for new investments. So he's going here and there looking for something new. And to go Dutch. When we go Dutch, that means that we are splitting the cost of something equally, such as a meal or some kind of purchase. So let's go Dutch on this dinner. It's only fair. So one person doesn't have to pay the whole amount. Robbing Peter to pay Paul. This idiom is used to refer to taking money from one source to pay another. And of course, this is not exactly efficient, is it? So, for example, if we have two credit cards, we pay off one credit card with the other credit card. So basically, you're not paying anything off. Okay. So, an example of this idiom would be he's just robbing Peter to pay Paul by taking out a loan to pay off his credit card debt. And to put money where your mouth is. So this is used to refer to someone who's willing to back up his or her words with actions. So for example, if you really believe in it, you should put your money where your mouth is and invest in the project. So not to just talk about it, but to take action. And a penny pincher. A penny pincher is just a frugal or cheap or stingy person. He's such a penny pincher, he never wants to spend any money. Feast or famine. This idiom is used to refer to situations in which there is either abundance, which means a lot of something, or a shortage of something. So, for example, the stock market is feast or famine. It's either up or down, nothing in the middle, nothing in between. Money talks. This idiom is used to refer to situations in which money seems to have more influence than any other factor. Okay, money has more influence than anything else. So, an example of this idiom would be money talks. You can always get what you want if you're willing to pay for it. Cheap as dirt. This idiom is used to refer to something that's very inexpensive. An example of this idiom would be this stock is cheap as dirt. You should buy it now before the price goes up. Now, many times you will also hear dirt cheap. Okay, it's the same thing. This stock is dirt cheap. You should buy it now. And we love to be, or would love to be, rolling in the dough. Dough is another way that we talk about money. Okay, we can call it dough. So this idiom is used to refer to someone who's very wealthy. He is rolling in the dough. He must have made a killing on that investment. I wonder what cash cow he has. Let's go into our idioms about time. Once in a blue moon is something that happens very rarely. It's used to describe something that's so rare that we can't even predict when it's going to happen. For example, I only go to the movies once in a blue moon. So I don't know when I'm going to go again, basically. Every once in a while. This means that something happens occasionally. Okay, it happens more often than once in a blue moon. Okay, but it doesn't happen very often. So I like to take a break every once in a while and go for a walk. Once in a lifetime is something that happens exactly that. One time in a person's life. It's used to describe something that's very special, very unique. For example, I had the opportunity to go skydiving once in a lifetime, or it's a once in a lifetime experience to go skydiving. Twice in a lifetime. Let's go first to once in a century. So, once in a century is just that. An idiom used to describe that happens once every 100 years. A century is 100 years. So, for example, the solar eclipse was a once in a century event. Something could be twice in a lifetime. Okay. So, of course, this is just the follow up of once in a lifetime. It's used to describe something that happens more than once, but not very often. So, for example, I've had the chance to visit Paris twice in my lifetime. We could have a once in a lifetime opportunity. So, this is used to describe something that's very special, very unique, and very unlikely to happen again. So, the chance to work with a Nobel Prize winning scientist was a once in a lifetime opportunity. It's never going to happen again. Time flies is an idiom that we use when we want to say that time's passing very quickly. I can't believe it's been 10 years already. How time flies. Children grow up so quickly. How time flies. And in the same context, we have in no time, which is used to express the idea that something will happen very quickly, or will be done very quickly. So, for example, if I have a task that I need to do, I could say, I'll have it done in no time, which just means very fast. And of course, time is of the essence. Time is important. So the idiom here is trying to say that time is very important or that time is running out. So time is of the essence. We must finish this project by the end of the week. So it's time is flying. Time is going by. Time flies. All in good time. This idiom is used to express that something will happen eventually, so don't worry. Don't worry, it will all work out in the end, all in good time. So maybe some other things have to take place in order for a particular thing to happen for you, but it will happen. It will all happen in good time. And before you know it, before you know it also means that something will happen very quickly. So right now, it's April. So before you know it, it will be summer. Before you know it. And our last one for time, it's about time. It means that something should have happened a long time ago or before now. And it's used to express some kind of relief that something finally happened. Like, it's about time you finished your homework. It's about time you finished your cleaning. It's about time you finished your task. We have lots of idioms when we're talking about weather. Here is one, let it rain. So this is used to suggest that money will be spent or made freely. For example, the company president is going to let it rain bonuses this year. So this means that the company president is going to give out bonuses generously. Isn't that wonderful? Under the weather. This is used when we're talking about somebody feeling ill, somebody's sick. So I'm feeling a bit under the weather today. This isn't used when we're really, really sick. This is used maybe if we have the sniffles or, we just don't feel great. Okay, that is under the weather. It's not when we're feeling terrible or when we're in hospital. When we're in the hospital, we don't say, I'm feeling under the weather. Okay, that you would be feeling horrible if you were in the hospital. This is just when you don't feel great. Okay. The next one, when it rains, it pours. This is used when in a bad context. So it suggests it suggests, excuse me, that when something bad happens, it often leads to other bad things happening. When it rains, it pours. First, my computer crashed, then I got a flat tire. So it seems like one bad thing is happening after another. When it rains, it pours. Raining cats and dogs. So this is a weather idiom. We can also say it's an animal idiom. This idiom is used to suggest that it is raining heavily. Okay. It's raining cats and dogs out there. Like even an umbrella can't help you in this situation. When we take a rain check, that means that we're postponing something for a later date. For example, can we take a rain check on lunch? I'm really busy right now. So it's not like I don't want to go out to lunch with you. I just can't do it now. We're going to take a rain check. You don't want to be the kind of person who rains on someone's parade. This suggests that you spoil someone else's plans or their enthusiasm. For example, she really rained on my parade by telling me I wouldn't get the job. So this person spoiled the enthusiasm of her or him getting a job. And you don't want to be that person. We might know a person that um, they see somebody having fun, being enthusiastic, being excited about something, and then somebody else comes along and just pours rain all over it. Okay, gives it's a negative context to this. Waiting for the clouds to part is when we're talking about a difficult situation and we know it's eventually going to come to an end. Eventually things will get better. That's what this means. So everyone just needs to wait for the clouds to part and everything will get better, usually in due time. When something is a breeze, that means that it's super simple. It's very, very easy. The test was a breeze. And to wait for a clear sky means that we are waiting for the problem to be resolved before we take action. So, for example, we should wait for a clear sky before we make any decisions about the project. So let's wait for things to be clearer. Let's wait for things to be resolved, and then we will make a decision because we don't want to be caught in a storm. Okay, so this is when somebody is in a difficult situation. She's caught in a storm at the moment. She's dealing with a lot of problems, but things will eventually be clear as day. When things are clear as day, that means that everything is obvious. There are no gray areas. There's a color idiom. Okay. It was clear as day that he was lying. It was completely obvious. It's as clear as day that she is a nice person. It's as clear as day that um, the project will be a success. Okay, it's obvious. And to have a cloud over someone's head. When someone has a cloud over their head, it means they feel sad, they feel gloomy, and everybody else can see it. Okay, it's something that's obvious. We can see this person being sad and gloomy. For example, he has a cloud over his head since his mother passed away. We can see that uh, he's feeling bad. He's feeling sad. And a storm in a teacup. This idiom is used to suggest that a problem is much bigger than it actually is. It was just a storm in a teacup. You are making a big deal out of nothing. Maybe you know someone who does this a lot, who gets really frustrated, really upset about small things. Okay, so you can tell them it was just a storm in a teacup. Don't make such a big deal out of everything. Okay, let's start talking about the idioms that are related to the home or the house. So we say home sweet home. This is referring to a place of comfort and happiness. So usually we say this when we're coming home from being on a trip, for example. We say it when we feel like we have missed being home. So, for example, after a long vacation, Sarah was excited to return to her cozy apartment and embrace the feeling of home, sweet home. Many times we will just walk in our house and say, ah, home, sweet home. And it's time to hit the hay. Hit the hay expresses the need or the desire to go to bed. Okay. So if we are tired, if I need to go to bed, we would say, I'm ready to hit the hay. So, as in the example, after a late night of partying, John was ready to hit the hay and get some rest. Nest egg. The nest egg refers to a sum of money, actually, or some kind of asset that has been saved for the use of it in the future. So maybe we have some kind of long term goal. So you can say, I have a nest egg. It can also be used to refer to some kind of inheritance that you have. So, for example, Tom had been saving for years and finally had a comfortable nest egg to rely on during his retirement. Home is where the heart is. This is used to express how much we love and feel loved at home. It implies that this is the most important place in the world. Okay, that's where our heart is. We feel nostalgia, we feel sentimental. So, for example, even though he had traveled to so many exotic locations, John knew that home was where the heart is and always looked forward to returning to his small town. Under my own roof. So, when we say that, we just mean that we're talking about our own house. This implies that I feel safety, I feel protection, literally inside my house, literally under my roof. Okay. So after living with roommates for years, Anna finally had the opportunity to live under her own roof and create a space that was truly hers. Um, Many times you might have heard or seen on movies a teenager fighting with his parents, and the parents will say, as long as you're under my roof, you're going to listen to my rules. So there's another example. And we have the home away from home. So this idiom is used to talk about a place that is really comfortable, it's really familiar. It might not actually be your own home, but you feel secure, you feel happiness there. It could be a second home or a place where you spend like a lot of time in, but it doesn't necessarily have to be your home. Okay, it's not your actual home. So even though she was studying abroad, Emily found a local cafe that became her home away from home. So she spent a lot of time there. A couch potato. This is a person that is lazy, doesn't have any kind of ambition or drive to do anything. They just sit around all day watching TV, okay? And it is used as an insult. So after a long day at work, John wanted to be a couch potato and watch TV all night. We are at home in our own skin when we feel comfortable with ourselves, when we feel secure, when we're confident. Okay, so after years of struggling with her identity, Jane finally felt at home in her own skin and was able to embrace who she truly was. The home field advantage. This refers to the advantage that a person feels or a team might feel when they are playing in the home area or the home field, meaning in their particular area, in their environment. And it is often used in sports contexts, but because of the word home, I put it in this category. So the home team had a clear home field advantage with the support of their fans and knowledge of the playing surface. Home on the range. So the cowboy felt at home on the range, riding his horse across the vast expanse of land. This refers to a place where everything is peaceful and you can relax, and it's a place that you can escape from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. Okay? It's a place of peacefulness. And home run. Again, this is used many times in the sports context, but it's used to refer to a situation where you did something successfully, not just in the sports context. Okay, so it is referring to some kind of accomplishment that you did. So the baseball player hit a home run in the last inning to win the game. Okay, so that's in the sports context. In a business context, maybe it might mean that you hit a home run by achieving some kind of project for your company, okay, or selling something for your company. You hit a home run. You achieved a great success. See you in the next one. And let's talk about enthusiasm. Let's talk about motivation. So, full of beans. When you are full of beans, it means that you are full of energy and enthusiasm. Okay, it's like you're really, really excited. So, after drinking 2 cups of coffee, John was full of beans and ready to tackle the day's tasks. And the sky's the limit. This means that there's no limit to what you can do, to what you can achieve. It expresses enthusiasm, optimism about the future, and is always used in a positive context. So, for example, I'm aiming for the top position in my company. The sky's the limit. How do we feel when we are on cloud nine? After receiving the news of his promotion, he was on cloud nine for the rest of the day. So that is when we are extremely happy, extremely enthusiastic. Elated would be a great word. Elated, that is like super happy. Jumping for joy is also when we are elated, when we have great enthusiasm, great excitement. Okay. So usually we use this idiom when we get some kind of good news. Okay. Or we're celebrating some kind of success. So when she received the job offer, she jumped for joy. High on life. This is used when a person is really excited about life in general. They are very grateful for what they have in their life and all the experience that life has to offer. So after achieving his lifelong dream of becoming a doctor, John felt like he was high on life. Or that might be a feeling that somebody always has if they're super positive about life in all contexts. They're high on life. Raring to go means to be eager and enthusiastic to do something. Okay, so after months of training, the athletes were ready to go on the for the big competition. Okay, you're super excited about something, some kind of challenge, some kind of invitation. Can't wait. Of course, just means that you're very excited, very eager for something to happen. It's used in a positive context, of course, and it can be in response to an invitation or some kind of announcement or something that you are going to do. So I can't wait to see my family for the holidays. On a roll means to be having a series of successes. So you do one thing, it turns out great. You do another thing, it turns out great. You do another thing, and it turns out great. So it's a series of things that are happening that have been successful. So after winning the first game, the team was on a roll and went on to win the next 4 games in a row. They are on a roll. To be fired up also means that we are excited and eager and enthusiastic about some kind of challenge, some kind of invitation. So after attending the motivational seminar, I was fired up and ready to tackle any challenge. An eager beaver is always the first one to start a project. So always the first one to be ready for something, to be enthusiastic to start a task or some kind of challenge. So he's such an eager beaver. He's always the first one to start the project. Revved up. Revved up. It might look like a W, but it's 2 V's. Revved up means to be very excited and enthusiastic. Uh, it's like they're supercharged. So the team was revved up to win the championship game. Okay, ready to take on the world. This is a person who's super confident about facing any kind of challenge. This is also a positive context about optimism, enthusiasm. So this, if you are ready to take on the world, you're a confident person. You're ready to take on any kind of task, any kind of challenge. You know that you're going to succeed. So after receiving the job offer, Sarah felt energized and ready to take on the world. Chomping at the bit means to be very eager and impatient. It's usually used in a positive context to express enthusiasm and eagerness. It is often used to describe someone who's eager to take on a task or challenge. So, for example, Sarah was chomping at the bit to start her new job, eager to show her skills and make a positive impression on her colleagues. Okay, we are talking emotions. We are talking emotions here, plenty of these. So here we have on cloud nine. When we use this idiom, we're describing a great happiness, lots of optimism. This implies that the person is so happy that they are as high as a cloud in the sky. So, this is a very, very good thing to feel. So, after getting a job offer from his dream company, Tom was on cloud nine for days. And the opposite would be down in the dumps. Down in the dumps is used to describe when somebody is feeling sad or depressed. It implies that the person is in a low, dark place and is feeling unmotivated, unhappy. Okay? very, very bad mood. So, after receiving the rejection letter from the university, Jane has been down in the dumps for days. And let's go to on edge, excuse me. The idiom on edge describes a person feeling really nervous, really anxious. You have this tense, unsettling feeling, lots of stress. So, ever since the break in at their home, Tom and Sarah have been on edge constantly. Head over heels is used to describe when somebody is feeling deeply in love. They're very, very excited, very happy about finding this new love. After her first skydiving experience, Mary was head over heels in love with the sport and couldn't wait to do it again. So, as you can see, it doesn't have to be about a person, it can be about anything. Fit to be tied. When someone is fit to be tied, it describes somebody that is super, super angry or frustrated. They are so mad that they could be tied up. So when Jack realized that someone had stolen his bicycle, he was fit to be tied and immediately called the police. Pleased as punch. This is a feeling of being very satisfied, very pleased, very happy about something. So, for example, after receiving a promotion at work, Jane was pleased as punch and couldn't wait to tell her family and friends. Super nice time in her life. To be in high spirits. Okay, that is basically the same thing. You're cheerful, you're energetic, you're upbeat. Okay, very, very high spirited. So, after receiving the news of her promotion, she was in high spirits all day. When we feel like we are in a pickle, that means that we feel that we are in a difficult situation. Okay, it's like that feeling when you where you're stuck in a jar. Okay, you're kind of confused, you're stuck about some kind of situation. So I'm in a pickle because I forgot my keys inside the locked car. That's a difficult situation. To be walking on air is also a feeling of being very excited, very happy, very enthusiastic. It's like you feel like you're walking on air, light and airy. After getting accepted into her dream school, she felt like she was walking on air. Chomping at the bit. This is used to describe when someone is feeling very eager, very impatient, okay, very excited to do something. So I've been chomping at the bit to start this project for weeks now. To be down in the mouth. This is implying that somebody is frowning. So your mouth would have a downward position. Okay. So this is somebody who's feeling discouraged, pessimistic, and disheartened about something. She's been down in the mouth ever since she lost her job. Cool as a cucumber is used to describe somebody who is very calm, very collected, okay, very relaxed. So even though the situation was tense and everyone was freaking out, Sarah remained cool as a cucumber. Maybe you know people like that who, no matter what is happening around them, is as cool as a cucumber. And to be tongue tied. When we are tongue tied, it's like we don't know what to say. We are at our wits' end. or what to say. We feel a little bit embarrassed, little bit shy. So I was so nervous about my presentation that I became tongue-tied and couldn't get the words out. So it's like you really feel like your tongue is tied and you can't speak. Okay, let's talk about education. Here we have idioms on education. Hit the books. This is used to describe studying. It's that effort that we put into studying very hard, okay? Studying with dedication. So Sarah knew that her final exams were coming up. So she decided to hit the books and spend every spare moment studying. To hit the nail on the head. This is an idiom used to describe a correct answer or a solution for something. Or if somebody comes to the correct conclusion, it's a way that you can congratulate them for finding the answer. So John really hit the nail on the head when he suggested that the company needed to focus on its customer service to improve its reputation. So he found the correct solution. He found the correct answer for his company. And education is the key. We say that all the time, right? This is the idiom that we use to emphasize the importance of education. It's a reminder that it's essential for success. Education opens up opportunities that might not have been accessible without it. So Mary always believed that education is key to achieving success in life. So she worked hard to get good grades and earn a college degree. To learn the ropes. This isn't just about school. This is when we are mastering some kind of skill, some kind of subject, or if we are new at work, we learn the ropes of our new job, okay? What we have to do in order to be successful at it. So when Tom started his new job, he spent the first few weeks learning the ropes and getting to know his colleagues. Okay, so this is knowledge is power. It's kind of like the same as education is key. Um, and it just means basically the same thing, the importance of education, the importance of knowledge as being essential for being successful in life. So John has always believed that knowledge is power. So he spent years reading and learning about the stock market. So we can say knowledge is power. We can also say education is power. Okay. So this is the same, it's used in the same way. Okay. It just means that education, knowledge, these open doors to opportunities that we might not have had. So my parents always told me that education is power, and I took their advice to heart. I worked hard in school, pursued higher education, and now I have a successful career. We could also say that knowledge is wealth. It's used to emphasize the value of knowledge, that knowledge is more important than money because knowledge leads you to success. Because you can have a lot of money, but if you don't have knowledge, you might not be able to keep it. So John's parents always told him that knowledge is wealth. So they encouraged him to study hard and pursue higher education. Okay, the sky's the limit. So we use this when we want to encourage people to aim high and strive for success. So maybe we tell our children that if you study, you work hard, you are putting your best foot forward, then the sky's the limit for you. So Sarah has always believed that the sky's the limit when it comes to her career. Let's take a look at the school of hard knocks. This is used to describe the process of learning, but through difficult experiences. Some people have had to face obstacles, challenges, maybe growing up in a difficult environment. So, growing up in a tough neighborhood was like attending the school of hard knocks for Jack. And the last one, to read between the lines. This is an idiom used to describe the ability to interpret or to infer the hidden meaning of something. It's a reminder that success requires critical thinking and to interpret information accurately. Okay? Looking at something that isn't quite there. So, although the email from his boss seemed polite and professional, Tom knew he needed to read between the lines to understand the real message. So, here we have communication idioms, and the first one is beating around the bush. So, this idiom is used to describe someone who is avoiding a direct answer to a question, or is in a difficult conversation and doesn't really want to answer. So, for example, he was beating around the bush when I asked him why he was late. So, he wasn't giving a straight answer. Letting something slip through the cracks is the idiom used to describe something that was missed or overlooked. So, for example, I let the deadline for the project slip through the cracks. So, somebody wasn't paying attention to something. Speak of the devil. This idiom is used to describe when a person you were just talking about suddenly appears. Okay. And it comes from an old superstition that speaking the devil's name would summon him, would bring him to you. So we were just talking about you. Speak of the devil. Actions speak louder than words. This is used to emphasize that actions are more important than just talking about doing something. Okay. It comes from the concept of physical actions being more powerful than verbal ones. So, for example, you can say you're sorry, but your actions speak louder than words. When we say to hit the nail on the head, we use it to describe when someone accurately identifies a problem or finds a solution, a great solution. So you really hit the nail on the head with that solution. So this comes from the idea when somebody is working in carpentry, hitting the nail on the head can sometimes be difficult. Close-lipped, close-lipped. That's someone who is not open to discussing their thoughts, plans, or feelings. This person can keep a secret. Their lips are sealed shut. So she was close lipped when I asked her what she thought of the plan. To be tongue tied. When we are tongue tied, it means that we are unable to speak or we're struggling to find words for what we are feeling or for our thoughts. So he was tongue tied when his boss asked him to explain his mistake. And when we put two and two together, we are able to come to a conclusion. It comes from the idea of using basic numerical facts to come to a conclusion. So he was able to put two and two together and figure out what happened. When we cross that bridge when we come to it is used to describe delaying a decision or a problem until it's absolutely necessary. So we'll cross that bridge when we come to it because maybe we won't have to. Maybe we won't have to deal with that problem. A waste of breath. This is used to describe when something is a futile effort or a futile conversation. So basically, there's no point in me saying something. It will be a waste of breath. Okay, you're wasting your breath by speaking. So trying to convince him was a waste of breath because you won't be able to. And the last one, par for the course, is used to describe when something is the expected or usual outcome. So it comes from the idea of a golf course where the number of strokes taken is par for the course. It's expected that it's going to happen. So it was par for the course when she arrived late again, because that's what she always does. Okay, so let's talk about some idioms that have to do with clothing and dress. Bargain basement. I found a great deal on a winter coat in the bargain basement section of the department store. It wasn't the latest style, but it was warm and comfortable. So this is used to refer to cheap or maybe low quality clothing. It implies that the clothing is not stylish or fashionable. Maybe it's low quality, but it sure is cheap, and you could find them in discount stores or thrift stores, which is different from dressed to the nines. This is used to describe someone who's dressed very well or in a very impressive manner. So maybe you're going out somewhere very special and you have to wear something expensive or stylish, and it definitely is a compliment. So Samantha was dressed to the nines for her cousin's wedding, wearing a beautiful gown, sparkling jewelry, and elegant shoes. Maybe Samantha was a fashion plate. This is used to describe someone who's always dressed stylishly, always fashionably. This is a fashionable, well dressed person that pays very close attention to the latest trends in fashion. And this is a compliment. So Grace is a real fashion plate. She always looks put together and fashionable, even when she's just running errands. Grace is certainly not a threadbare. This is describing clothing that is old and worn out. The clothes are usually in poor condition. Maybe we've worn them many times. Many times they're torn, faded, or frayed. So after years of use, the old sofa in the living room was threadbare with holes and worn out cushions. It was time to get a new one. And of course, this is talking about clothing as well. Now, dress to kill is used to describe again someone that is very stylish, is wearing very attractive clothing. This person looks very good, is very impressive with their whole style, and it is used as a compliment. So Jennifer arrived at the party dressed to kill in a slinky black dress and high heels because maybe she needs to dress to impress. This is almost the same thing. This is a person who is dressed in an impressive or fashionable manner in order to make a good impression. That's what they want to do. Um, could be for an interview, for example. For her job interview, Sarah dressed to impress in a smart business suit and polished shoes. Sarah certainly isn't a ragamuffin. This idiom is used to describe someone who's wearing shabby, old, or worn out clothing. It implies that the person is dressed in a poorly maintained manner. This is definitely a negative idiom. So the little girl who lived in the alley wore torn and dirty clothes, making her look like a ragamuffin. Dressed to the teeth is someone who is dressed in a very elaborate and showy kind of manner, just like the person in the picture here. It implies that the person is wearing expensive, very stylish clothing in order to make an impression, and it's very show offy. So at the awards ceremony, the movie star was dressed to the teeth in a sparkling gown, expensive jewelry, and designer shoes. And dressed down. This is more of a casual, informal dressing style. It's usually very comfortable and appropriate for everyday activities. So after work, Jake likes to dress down and wear comfortable clothes like sweatpants and a t-shirt. If you enjoyed this lecture, could you please take a moment to leave a rating and review? I would appreciate it very much. Your feedback is very important to me. Let's head over and learn some idioms about the workplace. And our first one, a chip on your shoulder. If you have a chip on your shoulder, it means that you have some kind of anger, some kind of grudge towards someone or something. So, for example, John has a chip on his shoulder because he was passed over for promotion. So, there is some deep seated anger there. And you don't want to be in hot water when you are at work because that means that you are in trouble or you're facing some kind of consequence due to a mistake or something wrong that you did. So he was in hot water with his boss after missing the deadline. To make ends meet. Many people are having problems making ends meet, and that just means that you're earning just enough money to cover your expenses. I have to work two jobs to make ends meet. So that's just enough to cover what you absolutely need. To pass the buck means to shift responsibility or even blame to someone else. The manager passed the buck to the employees for the project's failure. So it's somebody not wanting to take responsibility. Playing hardball in the workplace means to act in an aggressive or ruthless manner. So after the merger, the new boss played hardball with the employees' salaries. He was being difficult, he was being aggressive, and basically ruthless with their salaries. A lot of us have a lot on our plate, and that just means that there is a lot of work to do, lots of responsibilities to deal with. I can't take on another project. I already have a lot on my plate. To hit the ground running. That means we're starting a new project or some kind of new job, but with great energy and enthusiasm. We're happy to do it. We're happy to start this new venture. So the new employee hit the ground running and finished her first task on her first day. To burn the midnight oil means that you're working really late into the night. I had to burn the midnight oil to finish the project on time. You're working really late into the night. To raise the bar means that you are setting a higher standard of performance. So maybe we need to raise the bar. So we need to set a higher standard. The company's new marketing strategy raised the bar for sales. When we get the ball rolling, that means that we are initiating a project or a task. We're starting something new. Let's get the ball rolling on the new marketing campaign and set up a meeting. So we're starting something new. And to put in the hard yards. This means to work hard, you're putting in a lot of effort to achieve a goal. So after putting in the hard yards, John finally got the promotion he deserved. And the last one, to be in the driver's seat, means that you are in control of a situation or project. You are in control. So after completing the training, the new manager was finally in the driver's seat. Let's take a look at some idioms for money. Here we have money talks. This idiom means that when people want to get something done, they often need to use money to do it. It's often used to describe how money can influence people and situations. So, for example, if you want to get the project done on time, money talks. And the next one here, money growing on trees or money grows on trees. This idiom is used to describe a person who acts as if they have an endless amount of money and they're careless with it. So it can also be used to describe someone who's trying to get something without paying for it. So, for example, John thinks money grows on trees and is always trying to get things for free. Or maybe somebody's always asking for money. And that's where we come into money doesn't grow on trees, which is trying to remind someone that money is not infinite and should be used wisely. So we use this a lot with um, your kids, for example. So John needs to remember that money doesn't grow on trees and should be more careful with his spending because we don't have money to burn. So this idiom means that someone has a lot of money and is not afraid to spend it. Okay, this person is very, very wealthy. Okay, so if you don't have money to burn, that means that you are not wealthy. You don't or you can't spend money carelessly. So, for example, John has money to burn and loves to show off his wealth. But that can't buy happiness because money isn't everything. This idiom is used to remind people that money is not the most important thing in life. Other things are important, like friendship, family, and relationships. So John needs to remember that money isn't everything and should focus more time on his family. Money changes everything. This idiom is used to describe how money can have a powerful effect on people. It is often used to describe how people can change when they become wealthy and the power that money can have in a given situation. So John's parents were humble, but when they became wealthy, money changed everything. So they money changed them as people. Money makes the world go round means that money can influence people and situations, oftentimes, more often than not. It is used to emphasize the importance of money in the world and how it can really be a powerful force. So, John knows that money makes the world go round, and that's why he's trying to make more of it. Unfortunately, money is the root of all evil. So This idiom is used to describe how money can have a negative influence on people. It is often used to emphasize the negative effects of money and how it can lead to greed and especially corruption. So, so John knows that money is the root of all evil, and that's why he tries to be generous with it. Money is the motive is used to describe how money is often the driving force behind a person's actions. It is often used to describe how people are motivated by money, and it, of course, can influence their decisions. So, John knows that money is the motive, and that's why he works so hard to make more of it. When we say money is no object, we use that when we want to say that we are willing to spend a lot of money on something. We don't care how much something costs. Maybe someone is not worried about the cost of something and is willing to pay whatever is necessary. So John knows that money is no object and he's willing to pay whatever it takes to get what he wants. Because obviously for John, money isn't tight. When money is tight, however, we mean that there is not a lot available. We have to be careful with the spending because there's not enough money to do what we need. So John knows that money is tight right now and he needs to find a way to save money. Okay, and here we have money talks, bullshit walks. This idiom is used to describe how money can influence people and situations. It is often used to emphasize that money is more important than words or promises, that people should not trust empty promises. So, the only way I can trust what you are saying is by seeing the money first. So John knows that money talks and bullshit walks. So he only trusts people who can back up their words with money. And the last one, money is the great equalizer. This is used to describe how money can have a powerful and equalizing effect in a situation. It is often used to emphasize money's power to level the playing field. There's another idiom in any situation. So John knows that money is the great equalizer, and that's why he tries to be generous with it. Let's go into our next group of idioms, fit as a fiddle. When we are fit as a fiddle, it means that we are very healthy, that we are physically fit. So my grandfather is 95 years old, but he's still fit as a fiddle. Okay, in the pink is used to describe good health. So after months of rehab, she was finally in the pink. So maybe you were sick for a while and then you got better, so you are in the pink, which is the opposite of under the weather. When we are under the weather, that describes a feeling of being unwell or sick. It's usually not when we feel absolutely horrible, but we just don't feel great. So I'm feeling a bit under the weather, so I'm going to stay home today. When we are a health nut, that is used to describe someone who's very conscious of their health and is very careful about what they eat and what they put in their bodies and how much they exercise. So my mom is a real health nut. She always eats organic and exercises every day because she wants to be the picture of health. Okay. This is used to describe someone who is very healthy and very strong and looks the part as well. So, my friend is the picture of health. He looks like he's never been sick a day in his life. And to be in remission is used to describe a period of time in which a medical condition that you had is under control and is not active. And we usually use this for cancer. So his cancer is in remission. So he is feeling much better now. To be laid up is just used to describe being confined to a bed due to some kind of illness or some kind of injury. So I hurt my ankle. So I've been laid up all week. They're basically in bed until they become strong as an ox. This idiom is used to describe someone who's very healthy and very strong. So my uncle is 70 years old, but he's still as strong as an ox. On the mend. This idiom is used to describe someone who's recovering from an illness or injury. So he was in hospital for weeks, but he's finally on the mend. So he is getting better. Checkup. This idiom is used to describe an appointment with a doctor to assess your health. So I'm going for a checkup next week to make sure everything is okay. To take care of oneself is used to describe taking care of our own health, both physically and mentally. So I know it's hard, but you have to take care of yourself too. And the last one, second wind. This idiom is used to describe feeling energized after a period of feeling tired or exhausted. So I was feeling really tired, but then I got my second wind and I was able to finish the race. And here we have our favorite, the idioms on love, being head over heels. This is used to describe someone who is madly in love with somebody. It's a passionate kind of intense love for another person. Okay. So John fell head over heels in love with Sarah the moment he saw her. To kiss and make up. This is used to describe a situation when two people have had an argument, some kind of fight, and they are forgiving each other and they're restoring their love. So after their big fight, Jane and Tom decided to kiss and make up. And when we wear our heart on our sleeve, this is used to describe someone that is very open about their emotions, about their feelings. Okay. It describes someone who isn't afraid to express how they feel, to show how they feel. So Mary wears her heart on her sleeve, and everyone knows when she's happy or sad. And here we have puppy love. Puppy love is used to describe a young, immature love between two people, usually teenagers. It's kind of playful. It's not as deep or intense of a love that, of course, would be between two adults. So Tim's parents thought it was just puppy love when he started dating his first girlfriend in high school. And here we have love at first sight. This is used to describe a strong and immediate romantic attraction between two people. It's like you see the person and you have this intense connection. So, for example, when Jim saw Emily across the room, he knew it was love at first sight. But love can be blind. This is used to describe someone who is in love and cannot think logically, cannot think critically about their relationship. Many times they can't see their partner's faults or their flaws. This can be used to describe an irrational and in the impulsive nature that love can have. So even though Susan's boyfriend is lazy and never helps out, she loves him anyway. Love is blind. But love can also be a battlefield. This is used to describe a situation where two people are in a heated and intense argument. This is showing the struggle or the fight between two people, even though they love each other. Okay. It can be used to describe the tension and the conflict that two people have in a relationship. Love can sometimes feel like a battlefield with its ups and downs, twists and turns, and emotional challenges to overcome. Love is in the air. This is used to describe a situation or atmosphere where love is around, it's omnipresent, which means it's all over. Okay. It is used to describe a romantic and passionate atmosphere, like on Valentine's Day. With Valentine's Day approaching, you can feel love is in the air. And to be lovey dovey with somebody. This is used to describe a couple who are very affectionate and have a very strong connection. These people are usually touchy feely, also. Okay. You see couples that are inseparable. You can't separate them. They're holding hands, they may be kissing, they're very, very much in love. So the couple was acting all lovey dovey, holding in hands and kissing in public. When we have a crush on someone, that means that we have a strong connection or strong attraction, I should say, to another person. Okay. It's usually something sudden. Maybe it was a love at first sight. It's a very powerful infatuation with another person. So ever since she saw him, Sally had a crush on the new guy at work. Maybe it was love at first sight for her. So she might be also love struck. This is used to describe someone who is overwhelmed and captivated by love. Okay. This is, you feel like you're struck by the intensity of your feelings of love for someone. You are completely consumed. So after only a few dates, Robert was love struck and couldn't stop thinking about his new girlfriend. And to tie the knot. When we tie the knot, that just means that we are getting married. Okay. So it's a phrase to describe two people who are committed to a lifelong relationship and they're going to get married. So after dating for 5 years, Tom and Lisa finally decided to tie the knot and get married. And to be smitten is used to describe someone who has fallen deeply in love, and it is a phrase which can be used to describe who is someone who is hopelessly in love with another person, like they can't get them out of their mind. So when Maria met Carlos, she was instantly smitten with his charm, personality, and good looks. And if you enjoyed the lecture, please take a moment and leave a rating and a review. Your feedback is super important to me. Thank you. And there are lots of idioms on eating and food. So when we are eating humble pie, to eat humble pie, that means we are humbling ourselves or we want to apologize. So after losing the game, the team had to eat humble pie and admit they were wrong. When we bring home the bacon, that means that we earn a living. We provide for our family. So after working hard, he was finally able to bring home the bacon to his family. We can also eat our words. When we admit that we are wrong, or when we take back or retract a statement, that is eating our words. So, after making a bold statement, he had to eat his words when it was proven wrong. Bread and butter. So, what is your bread and butter? What is your main source of income? His bread and butter is teaching, and he loves it. So it's where we make our money from, the source of our income. Speaking of butter, we can butter someone up. When we want to butter someone up, that means we want to flatter them, make them feel good in order to gain something, in order to gain their favor. So he was buttering up the boss in hopes of getting a promotion. And let's talk about going Dutch. Going Dutch. When we go Dutch, that means that when we go out to eat, each person pays their bill separately, or we split the bill evenly. So we decided to go Dutch and split the bill evenly. A piece of cake. A piece of cake means that something is easy to do. The math test was a piece of cake for him. He finished it in no time, so very fast. And to eat out, of course, means to just go to a restaurant and have a meal outside of your house. So we decided to eat out tonight instead of cooking. And to eat crow is to admit that you are wrong. So he had to eat crow and apologize after making a false accusation. To have your cake and eat it too means that you have it both ways, to have something and to not give it up. So he wanted his cake and eat it too, but that wasn't possible. So for example, if you want to eat your cake, you can't expect to lose weight also, right? So that's basically what it means. So if you want to get a raise at work or get a promotion at work, but you are not willing to do something to achieve it, we can use it in that situation as well. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't have it both ways. And to spill the beans means that you are revealing some kind of secret. You're disclosing some kind of confidential information. So I can't believe that you spilled the beans about our surprise party to our friend. Or you might say to somebody, okay, spill the beans. Tell me what you know. A pie in the sky. This is an unrealistic hope or dream. So his dream of becoming president is just a pie in the sky. It's never going to happen. And chew the fat. This means that we are going to chat and we are going to gossip. So we spent the afternoon chewing the fat and catching up. And to take a bite out of. So the company was able to take a big bite out of their competition. This means that this made a significant impact on something. Okay. The company took a big bite out of their competition. Maybe they did something wonderful with their marketing, and this made a significant impact on the company and their competition. And here we have idioms related to fitness. A marathon, not a sprint. So, this idiom is used to describe a situation that requires patience and dedication. It's used to remind someone that success takes time and requires effort. So, building your fitness is a marathon, not a sprint. Don't expect quick results because a sprint is just a very short run. And in shape. If somebody is in shape, that means that this person is physically fit and active. They have good physical condition and they take care of their body through exercise and diet. So he's been exercising regularly. So he's really in shape because he hits the gym. Hitting the gym means that we are going to the gym to exercise. So if you want to get in shape, you should hit the gym a few times a week, which just means going to the gym to exercise. A tough workout is used to describe a strenuous exercise session. It's used to describe a workout that is physically challenging and requires a high level of effort. So I had a tough workout today. I worked up a sweat and was exhausted after. When we get our feet moving, that is used to describe the act of getting physically active. So maybe it is used to encourage someone to start exercising, for example, to get their heart rate up. So if you want to stay healthy, you should get your feet moving and go for a run or a walk. When we are in the zone, this is used to describe a state of peak physical performance. It's used to describe when someone is performing their best and achieving their maximum potential. So when he's playing basketball, he's in the zone and can't be stopped. Basically, they are super focused. To sweat it out. This idiom is used to describe the act of pushing through a difficult exercise session, even though it's difficult. It's used to describe pushing through the discomfort and persisting even when it's hard. So if you want to get results, you have to sweat it out and keep going. And to work up a sweat, this describes the act of exercising and getting physically active. Okay, so this causes you to sweat. So I went for a run and worked up a sweat. It felt great. To take the stairs is used to encourage someone to get some exercise. If you have time, you should take the stairs instead of the elevator. It'll get your heart rate up. So it is used to encourage someone to choose something more difficult, a more difficult option than just the stairs. And instead of just the elevator, take the stairs. If we are fit to be tied, this is used to describe someone that is that has a lot of anger and a lot of frustration. It is used to describe a situation where someone is so angry that they feel like they could just burst. So I was fit to be tied when I saw the mess my roommate had made. When we work out the kinks, this idiom is used to describe ironing out any issues or problems. So it's describing when somebody is addressing some kind of issue and making sure that everything is running smoothly. So we need to work out the kinks before we launch our new product so that they know that the product has no issues and is working. When we get pumped up, this describes a feeling of getting energized and motivated. This is describing a sense of feeling enthusiastic and ready to take on a new challenge. Many times before working out, we listen to music. I listened to some music, and got pumped up for my workout. And back to square one. When we are back to square one, that means that we have to start the process over from the beginning. It is used to describe when someone has to go back to the beginning because maybe there were some issues and there were some problems. So they have to start from scratch. That's also an idiom. To start from scratch, to go back to square one, it means to start from the beginning because there were some issues. So after my injury, I was back to square one and had to start all over again. And here is something we don't like to talk about: age idioms. To be as old as the hills. So, this idiom is used to describe that something or someone is very old or they have been around for a long, long time. Um, it's used to describe things that are ancient and have withstood the test of time. So the story of Romeo and Juliet is as old as the hills, but people still find it captivating and relevant today. And to be over the hill. When we are over the hill, it is kind of like a funny kind of idiom. It's used to describe someone who's getting older, usually past middle aged. So it's used to say that somebody's losing their youthful energy and their vigor. So Jane celebrated her 50th birthday last week and joked that she was now over the hill. But her friends assured her that she was full of energy and vitality. So it can have a humorous feel. And if we add that with over the hill but not out, okay, this is describing someone who, yes, they are getting older, but they still have a lot of energy and enthusiasm. Okay. So George may be retiring by the end of the year, but he's over the hill but not out. And ripe old age. So, this idiom is used to describe someone who has reached a very advanced age. So, it is used for someone who is elderly and has many years of life and experience and wisdom and all that wonderful stuff. So, my grandfather lived to the ripe old age of 96. To be in the prime of your life is describing someone who is in the best part of their life. It is someone who is healthy and energetic and is in the middle of his life. So John is in the prime of his life. He's got a successful career, good health, and has a great family. And the best years of your life. This is used to describe someone's life before reaching that advanced age. So it's used to express the idea that life is at its best before you get too old and you aren't able to do a few things. So even though Mary has had many good experiences, she still considers her college years to be the best of her life because she learned so much and had so many great experiences. And here we have the golden years, and this is used to describe the period of life after retirement when you have more free time, less responsibilities. This is a time in your life when you can relax and enjoy your life fully. So, after many years of hard work, John is now retired and enjoying the golden years of his life. Maybe he feels that he is young at heart. So, this is describing someone who is older, but still has a lot of enthusiasm and energy, at least on the inside. Okay. This person is usually physically active and has a young kind of attitude towards life. So, even though my grandmother is in her 80s, she's still young at heart. And the springtime of our lives describes the period of life before reaching middle age. So you're truly young still. So Samantha is in the springtime of her life, just starting college and exploring new opportunities. To be a wise old owl. We use this to describe someone who's elderly and wise. This person has a lot of knowledge and experience in life and is considered wise. So, Grandpa Joe is a wise old owl who always has good advice to offer. And one of my personal favorites, you're only as old as you feel. So this describes someone who, yes, is older, but still has a lot of energy and enthusiasm. Okay. It expresses the idea that age doesn't necessarily dictate how one feels or how one acts. So even though Jane is in her 60s, she's still very active and full of energy. She truly believes that you're only as old as you feel, and she feels much younger than her age. And that's a wonderful thing. And here we have our last lecture on our idioms for friendship. So, a friend in need is a friend indeed. This idiom is used to mean that a good friend will be there to help when it's needed. It's used to express the value of friends who will be there for you in times of need. So, even though we hadn't talked in years, when I reached out to John for help, he immediately came to my aid. I guess a friend in need is a friend indeed. And we have two peas in a pod. This means that two people are very similar and enjoy spending time together because they have common interests, common values, and goals. So Mike and John are like two peas in a pod. They have the same interests, sense of humor, and even dress alike. To be as thick as thieves is used to mean that two people are very close and share a bond of trust. They really, really trust each other. They express the value, this expresses the value of a strong, close friendship. So Emma and Sarah have been friends since childhood, and they're still as thick as thieves. Now, here we have, it's more of a family idiom. Blood is thicker than water. This is used to mean that family is more important than any other kind of relationship. So it is used to express the value of familial relationships above all else. So even though my sister and I argue sometimes, I know that blood is thicker than water. We'll always be there for each other when it counts. Birds of a feather flock together means that people who have similar interests and values tend to form social groups. They tend to find each other. Because they share these common interests and values, they become friends. So Sarah and her friends are all musicians who play in a band together. It's no surprise that they all get along so well. Birds of a feather flock together. Now, sometimes friends are the family you choose. So, this is used to mean that friendship is an important part of life. It is used to express the value of friends, kind of like an extended family. So, I moved to a new city where I didn't know anyone, but I quickly made some great friends. They've become like family to me, and I truly believe that friends are the family you choose. Okay. Now this should have been in the love uh, lecture, but that's okay. Um, I guess it could relate to friendships too. So it means that people that are with different qualities and characteristics can form strong relationships. Usually we use it in a romantic context, but you can use it in a friendship context as well. Okay. It's two people having different qualities, having different characteristics, but they are in a strong kind of relationship. So even though they have very different personalities, Jenny and Mark have been together for years. I guess it's true that opposites attract. The best of friends. So this is used to mean that two people are very close and have a deep, deep friendship. Ever since they were children, Sarah and Emma have been the best of friends. They share everything with each other and always have each other's back, no matter what. They are truly the best of friends. Okay, or we could say they are best friends. A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. Okay, so here I'm going to tell you some random idioms that I wanted to share with you. Okay, so these aren't really about friendship, but I wanted to close off with these. A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush means that it is better to have something that is certain than risking a lot to get more, possibly more. So it's used to express the value of being content with what you already have instead of risking it to get something more. So I was offered a job with a higher salary, but decided to stay with my current job because it's stable and provides benefits. I know that a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. Okay, so an apple a day keeps the doctor away means that making healthy choices on a daily basis will help to prevent illness. So it's not actually talking about an apple. It could be, but it doesn't have to. It just expresses the value of taking care of yourself and staying healthy so that you prevent having to go to the doctor. A picture is worth 1,000 words. This is used to mean that a single image can convey, can show a lot of meaning or information. So it is used to express the value of visual communication. So the photograph of the refugee child's lifeless body on the beach is a poignant reminder of the human cost of war. Truly, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And if you enjoyed the lecture, please take a moment to leave a rating and a review. Your feedback is important to me and helps me improve my courses. And all you have to do is simply go to the lecture page and click on rate and review. Thank you very much.